Do you have a story to share with the world? Of course you do. We all have stories to share. An Anchor podcast allows you to share your interests in a way that connects to others all across the globe. If you have been considering starting your own podcast and don't know where to begin, Anchor makes it easy to record, edit, and publish with the click of a button. You can even add music. Whether it's crime dramas, self improvement, paranormal adventures, or tips about parenting, you too can share your unique imprint on the world. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. You've got this. I believe in you. Welcome to the Existential Empath Podcast. My name is Tanya, and I am an intuitive empath. My intention is to share valuable tools and techniques that I have learned so you can tap into your own inner healer naturally and intuitively. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. In this podcast, I am going to discuss balancing the masculine and feminine energies, primarily because we just went through this beautiful new moon, and I have been really working on my wounded feminine energies. And so I thought that it would be beneficial to share some of the things that I have learned to assist if, maybe you're working through some of this too. So each and every one of us has a feminine and a masculine energy, and it presents within the human being. It can be loosely thought of as right brain qualities and left brain qualities. And I have talked about this in previous podcasts. So when we are in our higher masculine energy, it may look like we are taking action, setting up and holding boundaries. We may be strategizing, being leaders, analyzing, or maybe standing up for a cause. And when we are in our higher feminine energy, it might look like we are listening or holding space, opening ourselves up to receiving and being receptive. We could be feeling our emotions and processing them in a healthy manner. We are highly intuitive, tapping into those intuitive abilities through the pineal gland, or even with our gut instinct and our heart. We have an open heart space. We are receiving pleasure and opening ourselves up to creativity. And so we do ebb and flow through each of these energies. Now, this has nothing to do with gender. This is each and every one of us has a feminine and a masculine energy. And, as we work through these energies and have a deeper understanding of what's healthy and what's more toxic, we can learn how to heal and balance these on our own. So I'm going to walk us through what a wounded feminine energy looks like, a wounded masculine, a healthy feminine, and a healthy masculine energy. And so what I'm asking for each and one of you to do is just kind of take a step back and observe. Are you recognizing any of these aspects within yourself? And I know for me, it's like, whoa, until I started to really read up on this and have a deeper understanding, I'm like, man, I've really got to heal some of these aspects, of me. So, when we talk about balancing these two energies, we do not mean that we're having equal amounts of feminine and masculine energy. It's not like 50-50. We basically mean that we're just balancing the shadow sides, of each of these energies. So an imbalance in one energy can create an imbalance in another energy. For example, when you're in a toxic masculine energy, you might be, say you're avoiding accountability. Your toxic feminine energy will respond with victimhood. And so they play this beautiful dance, within our energetic system. And when we begin to recognize where we, have a healthy aspect of this energy, or where we may have a more unhealthy aspect, is when we can heal both of them. And that's how we balance them out. So, and, there are times when we are super balanced and times when we are super out of whack. And I know for me, it's just like, it's been a daily process to try and work through these. So a lot of it is working through our shadow aspects of self and bringing one or the other of these energies into balance. It will automatically recalibrate the other energies. So, understanding which is which will help you to cultivate more of what you need in any given moment. So if you are recognizing, whether you're male or female, and you're attracting certain partners into your life. As I go through these different aspects of the wounded and the healthy, masculine and feminine energy, ask yourself, where can I heal this? How did I pick up this thought process or this belief system or this emotion? When did this happen in my life? And oftentimes this will play out in our relationships. And it doesn't have to be always remote romantic relationships. It could be our work relationships, it could be our family dynamics. So, really think generalized on this as we move through these different aspects of energy. So, what does a wounded feminine energy look like? This could be, looking for external validation, always trying to seek advice outside of yourself and not trusting your own gut instincts or your own intuition. This is where codependency could come into play, where you are constantly feeling as if you have to be validated by your partner. Maybe you want to take a class on something that you feel passionate about. So you reach out to your partner and you share that information with them, or a friend or a family member. And they immediately put you down and they poo poo you and they say, no, that's ridiculous. Why would you want to take a pottery class? You're 50 years old. I mean, what's your problem? Well, if you love arts and crafts or you love pottery and you want to do it, and then you listen to them telling you not to do it, then you are not following your own intuition. You are following someone else's um, guidance of what they perceive as what you should be doing in your life. So when you're standing in your own power and you are following your own intuition, you have a healthy feminine energy. So, feeling insecure or even being manipulative or vindictive, these are also examples of a wounded feminine energy. Um, like I said before, stuck in victimhood. So, if you're constantly in a state of, oh my gosh, everything always happens to me and it's bad, or I'm always sick, or I never find the right partner, or, I never have enough money. Money does not flow to me with ease, or I am constantly struggling in my life. This is a wounded feminine aspect of self. This is where that victimhood falls into play. And when we heal those aspects of self, we pull that confidence back in to our bodies. So this is pulled in through our solar plexus. Our solar plexus is located right between our uh, like right around our belly button area. And this is going to be the color of yellow. And this is our sun energy. So the sun gives us energy. It's vibrant, it's radiant. And when we have a healthy solar plexus, we also carry those attributes of ourself. So when we are healing that chakra, we can pull it back into alignment. Thinking yellow, everything. They call it mellow yellow. So bringing yellow into our lives. If you hate the color yellow, then odds are you probably have an out of whack solar plexus. I have a friend who hates the color yellow, and I joke with her, and she's like, I don't have self confidence. I'm like, it's because you hate the color yellow. So you don't have to wear yellow. I'm not telling you to wear it, but just eat more of it. Bring more of it into your life. If you like sunshine, the sun, anything sunny, bring it into your existence. This will allow you to have more confidence. Some good crystals to use would be sunstone. Any yellow ones, citrine, citrine's excellent for abundance and breaking lack blocks, sleeping with it, wearing it, bringing more of that into your life. So just think the color yellow if you're really struggling in these areas of confidence and self-confidence and self-awareness. Some other attributes of a wounded feminine energy could look like a desperation for love. Maybe someone you're dating and you're having a difficult time getting them to commit, or to even go on a second date, or to even respond, for that matter. So you are feeling a little desperado, and so then you blow up their DMs, or you blow up their phone because you're like, why aren't you responding to me? Because you are trying to control, you're trying to manipulate. their energy. You're trying to balance out that lack of confidence in the feminine energy, and you're pulling yourself into the wounded masculine energy that is becoming more aggressive or more assertive or more clingy or more needy. And people can feel this, people can sense this energy. And so oftentimes I was recognizing in my reality, being a very strong sun sign in Aries, I have a masculine polarity to that, even being a female, but having a masculine sun sign. I was attracting more feminine energy men into my life. So Pisces, Taurus, and that was balancing me out. But also, I was feeling as if I was taking on the masculine role in the relationship because they were really leaned into their feminine energy. I was really leaned into my masculine energy. So it was almost like we were flipping gender roles in our relationship. And if that works for you, then fantastic. But in my relationship, it was not working for me. I wanted to really tap more into the qualities of that masculine man, in my life. And I wasn't getting that because I was stepping into that role. So I had to learn to heal these wounded feminine aspects of myself. And so, um, another very powerful concept when it comes to either the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine is setting powerful boundaries. And I have done several podcasts on how to set boundaries. So I do encourage you to go back and listen to those because it really plays a role in our relationships. It plays a role in us being empaths. And, if we are putting ourselves out there too much and not setting proper healthy boundaries, then we are just being taken advantage of. We are being depleted in our energy. And that's not a balance, and that's not harmonious in a way to balance these masculine and feminine energies out. So, we might be oversharing our emotions if we have a wounded feminine energy. We might seem needy, codependent, clingy, controlling. We could seem very controlling as well. It's almost like I visualize a shelter animal. They have been beaten down so much, and when you go to the shelter, they just kind of whimper and they're sad. And when you get a shelter animal and you bring them home and you give them love and nurturing and caring and trust, they begin to build up their own self confidence. And so, oftentimes, many of us in our childhood or in our lives have been beaten down, and our wounded feminine energy will come out and it will display itself in a variety of ways. So, what does a healthy feminine energy look like? Let's take a deep dive into this area because this is what we really want to focus on. We want to first consciously be aware that, wow, I have a wounded feminine energy aspect that I need to heal, but we don't want to focus on it. We want to heal it. We want to move into a more balanced and harmonious, healthy feminine energy. So, what does that look like? We could have strong and healthy boundaries. Boundaries are key. They are so key. And if we don't feel as if we have that power or confidence in ourselves to set these boundaries, then we've got to work on those aspects. And that's where that solar plexus comes into play. We may present ourselves as very loving and supportive. We may show a sign of vulnerability, and that's okay. There's a difference between showing vulnerability and being taken advantage of. Okay. So when we are in our wounded feminine, if we're vulnerable, we may feel as if we're being taken advantage of. But when we are standing in our power and we have a healthy feminine energy, we can be vulnerable and feel safe in that environment. Um, we also will feel confident in our body. We will feel radiant and glowing and vibrant and loving and compassionate and sexy and sensual. And this applies for both men and women. When we are standing in our own powerful feminine energy, we are in the flow. Our intuition is strong, it is powerful. We have an ability to stand in our truth and share our truth and our authentic selves and our genuine selves. So In our wounded feminine energy, we have a difficult time sharing our authenticity with others. We have a hard time sharing our truth. And this is where the throat chakra comes into play. That's where we share our truth. So we want to pull in the color blue. Think everything blue, blueberries. Wearing blue, being outside under the blue sky, anything that you think of that is blue, bring more of that into your life if you're having a hard time sharing your truth. Another thing that has been very beneficial to me is what's called resonance frequency. So, sound plays a huge role in how we can heal and align and balance our energetic system. And I'm going to do a podcast on this because it plays all the way back to ancient Egypt and it's fascinating. So, I love to listen to pure tones. The one that I'm kind of listening to now is 144 hertz pure tone. And it's basically just a tone. And I listen to it with my headphones on. And when we chant with those tones, it resonates through our body. It shifts our vibrational frequency. So when I listen to that, I will hum or chant Om. And just by doing that, I can feel the vibrations throughout my head and my chest, my ears. And when you enhance it with the 144 hertz pure tone, it just reverberates through your entire body. So what this is doing is it's stimulating your vocal cords. It is activating your pineal gland because the roof of your mouth is actually vibrating as well. Not only that, it's also activating your heart chakra. So I suggest you try that if you are having a hard time opening up your throat chakra because it can be very beneficial to you. I also feel it in my ears. My clairaudience has gotten more powerful since I've been doing these resonant tunings. And like I said, I will do a podcast on this because it's a whole topic in itself. So, what are some other aspects of the healthy feminine energy? Intuition and creativity. So, if you're lacking in creativity, oftentimes you may have a wounded feminine aspect of yourself. It could go all the way back to your early childhood. Maybe you were in class and you were drawing and you were expressing yourself in a creative way, and one of your classmates said, "That's ugly," or "That's stupid. Why would you draw that? That is ridiculous." And then maybe you got picked on and you shut it down. You're like, oh man. So this is where our sacral chakra comes into play. That's the aspect of creativity, creation. This is our reproductive area, bringing in more of the colors of orange into our life. Wearing orange, visualizing orange, eating orange, that's our creative center. So if you feel as if you have lost your creativity, bring more orange into your life. And you will begin to notice you will enjoy the process of creation. And I think many of us have lost that. We've lost that spark. We've lost that childlike nature or love to be creative and to open up our imaginative space, within our minds. And so really bringing it back to that joyful, playful aspect as a child and honing in and tuning that in, that will pull out your feminine energy and that will also balance it. So you won't feel as if you are so closed off or unmotivated or lacking in creative aspects of self. Um, you will be able to relate to others easily and you will be able to listen more freely. When we are in our wounded feminine, we want to express ourselves in a way, we want to be heard. But when we are in our healthy feminine energy, we feel as if we can hold space for others. We are in a more receptive mode. And when we are in this receptive mode, more abundance and prosperity flows to us as well. So, this also plays key. When our feminine energy is out of whack, we close off or seal off receiving because we are constantly giving, 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 giving. And this is a key. Uh, Aspect of the empath. This is where we oftentimes feel the need to give, give, give all the time to others, but we don't give, give, give to ourselves. And then we close off the flow of receiving to our own selves, our flow of abundance, our flow of love, our flow of prosperity, our flow of health and wealth. So all of these things can come into play when we have a wounded or a healthy feminine energy. So, what does a wounded masculine and a healthy masculine energy look like? So, when we are standing in our power, we are present in our own being. And when we are not standing in our power, we are, standing in our ego. We are not aligned with our higher self. We are not aligned with our divine energies. So we are standing more in our ego. So our wounded masculine can look very egoic. We may have a very strong attachment to success and that, into money. Everything is always, based around money and power and success. And there's not really a balance there. We can have a very strong fear of failure if our masculine energy is in that wounded state. We may feel the need to be right all the time, and we have to argue um, our opinion, or we have to really just make sure that others agree with us. We are always right, right? We are constantly right. And that's where that wounded masculine, it's just seeking that validation outside of ourselves, but we're bullying through it. So we could have a bullying or a very aggressive energy. We could be presenting ourselves as very cold and distant and shut off from our relationships or even from our higher self. We could feel very distant, very disconnected. We could present ourselves as critical and judgmental. And that's where we, could have that aspect of ourselves when we were children. Maybe we were criticized or we were judged, and now we constantly want to judge others because it makes us feel good. But oftentimes when we're judging others, we're judging an aspect of ourselves, and it's being mirrored or reflected back to us. A wounded masculine could also present itself as selfishness. Um, it could present itself as stuck in the mind. And I'm saying we because these are all aspects of myself too that I have had to work through, especially being an Aries sun sign. I have had to work through a lot of these different aspects of self. And, we may not feel in touch with our emotions, very disconnected from the emotions. Oftentimes, people present emotions as being a more feminine energy, but it's so important to have a balance in those energies and to feel through it, because that's where our divinity is, right? We have the thought, we feel the feeling, and then we amplify it through our words. And so this is where the law of attraction can also come into play. And if we are out of whack in our feminine and masculine energy, then we have a difficult time attracting and manifesting things into our life that we desire. And we, as a wounded masculine, you may also present yourself as being very defensive and attacking in nature, not being open-minded to other perspectives or other people's realities, right? We may just feel like, this is how it is and this is how it's going to be. And then we're aggressive about it. So those are some examples of what a wounded masculine energy would look like. So what does a healthy masculine energy look like? So we can constantly be present without being distracted. So this is an area where, and this is very sexy. I'm not going to lie. When I, meet a man who is really strongly balanced in his masculine and feminine energies, it's like, whew. I mean, we crave that. We crave that as human beings, whether it's, whatever partner that you have. We crave having a beautiful balance between these energies. And so, this could present itself as being non-judgmental. We don't have the need to judge because we feel balanced and we feel harmonized within our own energetic system. Uh, there could be a sense of being committed and not being afraid to commit, not being afraid to put yourself out there and open yourself up to love. Healthy masculine energies have deep integrity and are very humble in their nature. And they're focused and disciplined and supportive and encouraging and grounded and of service. And, these are all beautiful qualities that are so lovely to see in both feminine and masculine aspects of self. The healthy masculine energy will present itself as being honest, logical, and also very accountable. So, not flighty or flaky. And so, when we balance out these energies, we will begin to attract partners into our life that are more balanced as well, because this is a part of the law of attraction. If we have an imbalance in the energy, we will attract others who have a more stronger aspect of that energy. So, the more that we are balanced and in harmony within our own energetic system, the more we will attract loving relationships within to our lives. And more balanced relationships within to our lives. So this could play into romantic relationships, coworker relationships, family dynamics, a whole variety of things. So when we start to really take a look at ourselves and where our energy is, and understanding where do we fall into these categories. And for me, what I did is I actually just sat down and wrote it down. I I had all of these aspects, wounded feminine, wounded masculine, healthy masculine. And I literally went through and checked, okay, okay, I'm wounded in this area. Okay. I'm healthy in this area. Okay. And, where do I need to really, spend my time and focus on healing these aspects of self? And so, a lot of it is just recognizing it and being consciously aware of it. Be like, okay, I'm overly aggressive in my relationships, and that pushes people away. Or I'm overly controlling in relationships, and that pushes people away. Why am I over controlling? Does this stem back to my childhood? Was my mom over controlling? And so I always felt the need to have to resist that or to push against that. That would be a good indicator of a wounded feminine energy. Is, really, and if it was your mom's side, then odds are she has a wounded feminine energy as well. So she had to step up into that masculine energy and feel as if there had to be a necessity to be aggressive or to be controlling. So a lot of it is looking at ourselves and looking at our genetic patterns, and being consciously aware of those and consciously shifting those. And in the moment when it happens, if you're in a relationship and you're being controlling and your partner says, here you are, you're trying to control me again, instead of saying, whatever, walking away, actually sit with it and say, gosh, I guess I am kind of being controlling. Why am I being controlling? Was I controlled when I was a child? Okay. Why was I controlled when I was a child? Were my parents controlling? Okay. Why were my parents controlling? Were they being controlled as they were, when they were children? So it's really just tracking it back to where that pattern started. Where did that emotion get processed or get trapped in the body? And working our way through it. So, if you're having a difficult time doing this on your own, I do provide sessions where we work through these aspects of self. And I have several different modalities that I use. EFT tapping has been very effective. I muscle test and work my way through your energetic field to see, where have these patterns started. And I use emotion code often. And I also have beyond quantum healing hypnosis sessions as well, if there's really a need to dive deeper into those traumas and into those patterns. But once we recognize that we are wounded in these areas, and also recognize where we are healthy in these areas, I don't think it's we always have to focus on the negative aspects of ourselves. We need to also appreciate the positive aspects of ourselves, and looking back to where we have grown and where have we expanded in these areas. And I think for me, that's been kind of my healing, is to say, wow, I used to function in relationships this way, but now working through some of these childhood traumas, I can function in a lot more productive ways in my relationships. And I am a better listener because of it. As a kid, I just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked, talked and talked. Well, my mom talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. I never could get my truth out. I could never speak, as a child. And so, breaking that pattern of, you know, listening more and opening myself up to understanding that I don't have to talk all the time. I don't have to fill the silence. And that was something within my family that I felt as if we all needed to do. There always needed to be to fill the silence. And that was passed down from something that happened within my mom, in her childhood. So it's really just breaking those patterns and recognizing them and opening yourself up to being vulnerable. And, holding space for yourself and realizing that we're all on this healing journey, and we don't always have to be stuck in a healing pattern and a healing process. It's always good to congratulate ourselves and to celebrate ourselves for, moving through things. So I hope that this information was helpful to you. And I know it's been very helpful to me, and working through my own kind of battles within my feminine and masculine energy. So I look forward to sharing more information with you soon. And I send you all so much uplifting, positive, peaceful, loving energy. You deserve to navigate your life as an empath in alignment with health, happiness, and abundance. To learn more about the services that I provide, including Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis, EFT tapping, and the Emotion Code, visit my website at www.thesoulcafe.org.